Hey guys, and welcome back. Thanks for stopping in today. If you're interested in getting our daily free pick over at our main website, you can check that out at stumpthespread.com by clicking on the logo in the top right hand corner of this video. If you're on desktop, and we'll also link Stump the Spread in the video description. Today we're going to be talking about some potentially better value bets against the spread in college basketball for January 30th, 2017. In today's video, I'm going to be touching on 5 matchups. Shouldn't take too long to get through these, and if you're interested in what games I'm going to be talking about, I will link those in the, or just list them, I guess, in the video description as well. And if you're interested in getting more of this content in the future, you can go ahead and click that subscribe button, and also you can click the thumbs up on this video. It's greatly appreciated and really helps us out. So the first game that I want to talk about in today's video is going to be between Georgia Southern and Troy. This is a Georgia Southern team that, currently still stands atop of the Sun Belt, even though they did fall in their last outing on the road against South Alabama. Georgia Southern just simply didn't look themselves in that last outing. This is a team that relies quite a bit on the three-point shot, and for the most part, it's been falling for the Eagles this year, but they just weren't able to find their shot against South Alabama. And, that can be the case sometimes, with these teams that really rely a lot on the three-point ball, but Georgia Southern, still a serious contender here for the Sun Belt regular season title, but they're going to be looking to right the ship today, going out on the road again in this, back-to-back road situation, and a fairly quick turnaround here for the Eagles. They're going on the road here against the Troy Trojans, and Troy actually has had better results on the road than at home. They did have that one really strong home win against Texas Arlington, but recently, Troy is coming off home defeats against Texas State, and also in their last outing against Georgia State, Troy fell at home as well, and that's a Georgia State squad that Troy actually beat on the road not that long ago. For some reason, Troy just doesn't perform, or hasn't been performing quite as well in general on their home court as they have been on the road, and sometimes it's just the makeup of a team. It seems like this Troy group really relishes in quieting a road crowd, and this isn't a team that has really a very good home court advantage of their own, and in that quieter atmosphere, it just seems like this team isn't able to perform quite as well. Georgia Southern, they stand 7-1 in conference, coming off their first conference defeat, and this is a team that has shown that they can win on the road. They do have conference wins on the road against teams like Louisiana Lafayette, Louisiana Monroe, and a lot of Georgia Southern's wins have come in competitive fashion, and then their loss the other day wasn't the greatest result for them, and was one of their weakest offensive performances of the year, but in a game that we expect to be pretty competitive between two of the better offensive teams in the conference, we do like Georgia Southern getting the points here, especially with this spread moving against them a bit in the other direction, moving up to 3.5 to 4. We feel like Georgia Southern getting the points here against a Troy team that really hasn't been all that great at home as of late is going to be a pretty solid value bet. Another Sun Belt matchup we have here between Georgia State and South Alabama. We just actually talked about, or touched on, both these teams in the previous game that I was talking about, because both of these teams played Georgia Southern and Troy in their last outing. So Georgia State, they've been trending in the right direction as of late. This is a Georgia State squad that currently sits in that mid to upper tier right now of the Sun Belt, and they have been picking up their play. Getting that win on the road against Troy the other day was a nice result for them, and now they're going back-to-back on the road here in a fairly quick turnaround for the Panthers as well. And this South Alabama squad, they showed some decent results back during the non-conference, and then they kind of fell off the tracks a bit and haven't necessarily been putting up the best results in conference play. But South Alabama did look really strong in their last outing at home against Georgia Southern, picking up that win and able to seal out the deal in that particular matchup there, dealing Georgia Southern their first loss thus far in conference play. This should be a pretty competitive matchup. Georgia State going back-to-back on the road, fatigue is always something you consider in these matchups. And South Alabama also was just playing with a lot of passion, and their home crowd really gave them a boost in their last outing, and they were just really able to really close out Georgia Southern in impressive fashion. It was a great result there for the Jags, and getting the points here on their home court in what should probably be a pretty competitive matchup. We do like South Alabama as the better bet in this particular contest. All right, moving on to a matchup over in a bigger conference here. We have a Big 12 matchup between Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. Oklahoma State is starting to kind of creep their way back into that bubble conversation. They've picked up 3 wins in a row, and all of the wins have come by double figures. They, blew out Texas Tech on the road to get this 3-game winning streak started, and then in their recent homestand, Oklahoma State looked really strong, getting past TCU, and then in their last outing, they went on to blitz past Arkansas, and what was another really solid result there for the Cowboys. Oklahoma State needs to continue to rack up the wins and get their Big 12 record, closer to 500. Right now they just stand 2-6 overall in the Big 12, but this group is going to have an opportunity to do that here in the coming weeks as they try to make their case and improve their RPI enough to get back into that at-large conversation. They're going on the road here against an Oklahoma squad that actually had picked up their play recently. They went on that 2-game winning streak in conference, but Oklahoma has fallen back off the wagon again here, losing their last 3 in a row. And on the year, Oklahoma has only been able to grab 8 total wins. We did expect Oklahoma to take quite a big step back this year, just given the fact all of the veteran talent that moved on from this roster this past offseason. And then you have Jordan Woodard, who's the top returner on this team, and he's kind of been in and out of the lineup with injuries. Right now he's listed as probable for this one, and that would really give Oklahoma a boost if he's able to go. Oklahoma did not look great in their last outing in the Big 12 SEC matchup. They went against Florida at home, and they were just absolutely demolished in that matchup. They weren't able to find consistent baskets on the offensive end, and then Florida was able to pretty much get whatever they want. Coming off recent results, Oklahoma State's coming off that blowout win against Arkansas, and Oklahoma's coming off that terrible defeat in their not terrible just given the fact that Florida's a really good team, but you got to show better than that on your home court, especially in a situation where the Big 12 is really trying to prove themselves there against the SEC. We do feel like this game can be competitive given the fact that it is a rivalry matchup, but given the way these teams are trending right now, we feel like Oklahoma State's going to be the better bet here. It won't be easy. The road crowd will definitely be a factor here, but we do like the Cowboys to go on to continue to build off of their recent momentum as they go on to win and cover this spread here against their rival Oklahoma Sooners. All right, just 3 more games that I want to touch on in today's video, and the next game I want to talk about is between Monmouth and Marist. So earlier in conference play, when Marist went on the road against Monmouth, I remember they were rather large underdogs, and we sided with them in that particular matchup, and they actually pushed Monmouth considerably, and that was a really competitive matchup. They did fall short in the end, but Marist was able to kind of slow the pace of play a bit and keep things in that 60 to 70 point range. If Marist is going to have any shot at the upset today, they're going to have to do the same thing. Monmouth looked really strong in their last outing at home as they were able to separate from Quinnipiac in that win for them. Monmouth is the best team in the MAAC, and that's just to be expected with the amount of talent this squad returned from last year's team that got snubbed from the NCAA tournament. Now, Monmouth hasn't looked as good this year as they did last year, but it's really just going to come down to what this group is able to do come the month of March, and specifically in the MAAC tournament as they try to, kind of make up for last year's situation and make a push towards the big dance. Going on the road here against a team that they had a tough time separating from, it could be tough to cover this large of a spread. Marist isn't by any means, one of the upper tier teams in the MAAC, but they have been shown a little bit better this year than they have in recent years, and just given the fact that Marist was able to compete so well with Monmouth not that long ago on the road, we do feel like the Red Foxes getting the 12.5 to 13 points here is going to be the better value bet against the spread in this particular matchup. And just one more game that we want to talk about, and it's going to be another MAAC matchup between Rider and Canisius. Rider got off to a great start in conference play. They have faded a bit as of late, and Canisius has been another team that has had some pretty strong results in conference, but then they've also put up some less than desirable results as well. Both of these teams at different times have been right up there at the top of the standings, but have kind of fallen back to the middle of the pack. And really, as a whole, the MAAC has shown quite a bit of parity, especially in the middle tier of the conference. A lot of quality teams that have been kind of picking each other off, and a lot of teams just sitting in that 500 range in the conference standings. This should be, figures to be a fairly competitive matchup. The one thing with Rider, it can be pretty frustrating, is sometimes they really cost themselves at the free throw line. That's been an issue for them on occasion, but we do expect this game to be fairly competitive. And Canisius, they just haven't been as consistent as we'd like to see from them. This is a team that really leans on their offense, but when they're unable to knock down their shots, they have a tough time there. And this is a lot of points to be giving here against Rider. We do feel like the Broncs can at least keep this one respectable, and getting the 6.5 to 7 points. We do feel like the Rider Broncs here on the road are going to be the better value bet against the spread. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up the games that I wanted to touch on in today's video. This is a Monday. Obviously not a ton of action on the board compared to some of the other days we get in college basketball throughout the week. Just talked about 5 games in this particular matchup. Again, if you're interested in getting our daily free play over at our main website, you can head on over to stumpthespread.com by either clicking the logo in the top right-hand corner of this video or in the link in the description. And if you want more of this content in the future, you can click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next college basketball video. Bye.